I found out my fiancée was changing her passwords every single day because I saw her type one in and then immediately change it after I walked into the room. I wish I could say that was the moment everything fell apart, but the truth is, the cracks had been there for months. I just kept painting over them. I was living what I thought was a normal, happy life. I had a woman I loved, a wedding coming, and a future I was excited about. Our families were already talking about plans, houses, and kids. Everyone believed we were that couple who had finally found something real. I believed it too. Looking back now, I realize I spent more time protecting the image of our relationship than actually looking at what was happening inside it. I trusted her completely, even when my instincts started quietly screaming that something was wrong. When we first met, she was the kind of person who made ordinary days feel special. She remembered small details, checked on me when I was stressed, and made me feel like I was the only person in the world who mattered. That was probably why I ignored things later. The first red flags were small. She became protective of her phone. She would take calls in another room and say they were just work. She started smiling at messages but refused to tell me who they were from. Whenever I asked, she laughed and told me I was overthinking. "You know I love you. Why are you looking for problems?" she would say. And I hated myself for doubting her. I convinced myself that jealousy was the enemy. I told myself mature relationships required trust. The problem was, I confused trust with pretending not to notice things that hurt me. I wanted our future so badly that I ignored the present. The password thing became the strangest part. At first, I didn't even care about her phone. I never wanted to be that person who checked messages or searched for evidence. But suddenly her phone became a locked door between us. One night, I asked why she changed her password so often. She looked offended. "Are you accusing me of something?" I immediately apologized. That was the pattern. I would bring up a concern, and somehow I ended up comforting her. She told me she needed privacy. I agreed. Everyone deserves privacy, even in relationships. But privacy started feeling like secrecy. She began sleeping with her phone under her pillow. She turned notifications off. She deleted messages before I could even see who sent them. My friends noticed before I admitted anything. "You seem worried all the time," one of them told me. I laughed it off. The truth was, I was constantly fighting a battle between what I felt and what I wanted to believe. The moment I truly started questioning everything happened on a random Tuesday evening. She was in the shower, and her laptop was open on the table. I wasn't searching for anything. I swear I wasn't. A message appeared. I only saw the preview. "Last night was worth the risk." My stomach dropped. I stared at those words until the screen went dark. For several minutes, I just sat there frozen. My brain immediately created 100 explanations. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe it was about something innocent. Maybe I was being paranoid again. But deep down, I already knew. When she came back, I watched her face. I watched every little movement. I hated that I had become someone who studied the person they loved like a stranger. I didn't confront her immediately. That might sound weak, but I needed time to accept that the life I trusted could actually be a lie. I went to bed beside her that night feeling completely alone. The truth came out 3 days later. I finally asked her directly about the message. She went silent. That silence hurt more than any answer could have. I asked, "Who were you with?" She started crying before she even responded. That was when I knew. She admitted she had been seeing someone from her workplace for almost 6 months. 6 months. While we were planning our wedding. While she was telling me she loved me. While I was saving money for our future. I couldn't understand how two versions of reality existed at the same time. "How could you do this to me?" I asked. She covered her face and said, "I never wanted to hurt you." I still don't understand that sentence. How can someone repeatedly choose something that destroys you and still say they never wanted to hurt you? I felt like the floor disappeared beneath me. The person I trusted most had become the person I was afraid of. After she confessed, I left the apartment and drove around for hours. I didn't know where I was going. I just couldn't breathe inside that place anymore. Every memory felt contaminated. Our favorite restaurant. The couch where we watched movies. The vacation photos on the wall. Everything suddenly had a question mark attached to it. I kept thinking about all the times she changed her password and asked me to trust her. I wondered if she felt guilty or if she was just getting better at hiding things. The worst part was that I still loved her. That confused me more than the betrayal itself. People always say they would leave immediately, but emotions don't disappear because someone hurts you. I was angry, broken, and still missing her at the same time. My family told me to walk away. My friends told me I deserved better. I knew they were right. But knowing something and accepting it are two completely different things. When I finally returned home, we had the hardest conversation of our relationship. She begged me to listen. She said the affair wasn't because she stopped loving me. She said she was confused, lonely, and made mistakes. I asked her why she didn't talk to me if she felt that way. She had no real answer. That hurt. She wanted me to understand her pain, but she didn't seem to understand mine. She cried and held my hands, saying she would do anything to fix things. Part of me wanted to believe her. Part of me wanted to erase everything and wake up before the discovery. But another part of me kept remembering how easily she lied. She had looked directly into my eyes every day while hiding a completely different life. I started wondering if forgiveness would mean healing or simply accepting that I would always doubt her. I hated that she had taken away my ability to feel safe. The pressure from everyone around us made everything worse. Her family wanted us to work things out. They said people make mistakes and that throwing away years together was too easy. My family was different. My sister told me, "You're not just grieving the relationship. You're grieving the person you thought she was." That sentence stayed with me. Because that was exactly what I felt. I wasn't only angry about the other man. I was mourning the version of my fiancée who existed in my mind. The hardest moments were the quiet ones. I would wake up and forget for a few seconds. I would look over and expect everything to be normal. Then reality would hit again. She was still there. The betrayal was still there. The wedding plans were still sitting in a folder on our desk, like a cruel reminder of a future that might never happen. I felt trapped between memories and reality. I tried to understand why I stayed after everything happened. Maybe I was afraid. Maybe I was hoping the old version of us would return. We started counseling, and for a while, I thought we were making progress. She became more open. She stopped hiding her phone. She answered my questions. But trust doesn't rebuild because someone becomes honest after being caught. That's something I learned the painful way. Every notification on her phone made my heart race. Every late arrival brought back the panic. I hated feeling like a detective in my own relationship. She would ask, "How long are you going to punish me?" I never knew how to answer. Because I wasn't trying to punish her. I was trying to survive what happened. The damage wasn't only what she did. It was what it turned me into. I became someone I didn't recognize. Suspicious. Angry. Constantly afraid of being fooled again. Eventually, I found out there was more I didn't know. I discovered she had lied about when the affair started. It wasn't 6 months. It was closer to 8. That broke something inside me. I confronted her, and she admitted she had hidden details because she thought the truth would make me leave. She was right. The second betrayal wasn't the affair itself. It was knowing she still chose to protect herself even after hurting me. I packed my things that night. She cried and asked me not to give up on us. I wanted to be compassionate. I really did. but I was exhausted. There is a special kind of pain that comes from loving someone who has become the source of your anxiety. I spent so long trying to save our relationship that I forgot I was losing myself. Walking away didn't feel like winning. It felt like accepting that something I loved was already gone. The weeks after leaving were probably the hardest period of my life. People expected me to feel free, but I mostly felt empty. I had spent years imagining my future with her. Suddenly I had no wedding, no shared plans, and no idea what my life looked like anymore. I avoided social media because everyone knew about the breakup. Some people were supportive. Others asked questions that made me feel exposed. I hated being the person whose relationship became a story. At night, I replayed everything. I wondered if I missed signs. I wondered if I could have done something differently. That guilt was difficult because part of me blamed myself. Eventually, I realized someone else's choices were never something I could control. I could have been more loving, more patient, or more understanding. But I couldn't make someone choose honesty. That realization helped, but it didn't erase the pain. Months later, she reached out again. She said she missed me. She said she finally understood what she lost. I wanted to believe her. A part of me still loved hearing that. But another part remembered the person I became during those months of uncertainty. We talked for hours one night. She apologized for everything. I asked her one question. If I never found that message, would you have told me? She didn't answer. That silence was my answer. I realized I wasn't waiting for proof that she changed. I was waiting for proof that the past wasn't real. But it was real. The relationship we had was real too. That was the hardest thing to accept. Two things could exist together. I could love someone and still know they were no longer safe for me. I ended the conversation kindly. For once, I chose my own peace instead of chasing the person who broke it. It has been a long time since everything happened, but certain things still affect me. I notice when people hide their phones. I notice when someone becomes distant. Sometimes I hate that experience changed me this way. Before all of this, I believed love meant trusting without hesitation. Now I think love also requires honesty, communication, and the courage to face uncomfortable conversations. I don't regret loving her. That relationship gave me some of the happiest moments of my life. But I regret ignoring myself. I regret every time I felt something was wrong and convinced myself I was being unreasonable. My instincts were trying to protect me. I just didn't want to listen because the truth was too painful. I still don't know if she became a better person after what happened. I hope she did. Not for me. For herself. Because nobody should build their life around hiding pieces of who they are. Sometimes people ask if I would ever take her back. The honest answer is that I don't know. Maybe years ago I would have said yes immediately. I loved her that much. But now I understand that love alone is not enough. You can love someone deeply and still be destroyed by the way they treat you. I don't hate her. That surprises people. I thought I would spend my life angry, but anger eventually gets tired. What remains is sadness. Sadness for the person I lost. Sadness for the future that disappeared. Sadness for the version of myself who believed nothing could break us. I'm rebuilding slowly. I have learned to enjoy my own company again. I have learned that being alone is better than feeling lonely next to someone. The scars are still there. They probably always will be. But they remind me that I survived something I thought would destroy me. I'm writing this because I kept this story inside for too long. 4 months, I pretended I was fine. I told people I was moving on. I smiled when I needed to smile. But some wounds don't disappear just because you stop talking about them. The password changes were never really about passwords. They were about the feeling that something important was being hidden from me while I was being asked to trust blindly. I wish I had trusted my feelings sooner. I wish I had asked harder questions. Most of all, I wish I understood that protecting a relationship should never mean abandoning yourself. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe someday I'll love again without fear. Maybe someday this will just be a painful chapter instead of a defining one. For now, I'm learning to live with what happened. I lost a person I loved. But I also found the part of myself I almost lost trying to keep her.